This is the Teaching Bites podcast, episode number 10.
Welcome to the Teaching Bites podcast, our unprofessional development resource to take your teaching to the next level. Here are your hosts, Fred and Sharon Jaravada.
Welcome to our show where we share bite-sized ideas, tips, and tricks so you can make them your own. Whether you're a brand new teacher or a veteran teacher that needs an extra spark, we're all here to learn from each other so you can take your teaching to the next level. We're your host. She's Sharon.
And he's Fred.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We are back like vertebrae.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Like vertebrae?
Mm-hmm.
We're back. Yeah.
Yeah, and why are we, what happened last week? We skipped a week. This is we have not done this, and I apologize to our listeners for waiting for another episode.
Right. Yeah, it's been a week. We've been out of the commission for a bit. We just got so busy with life, right?
Right, and I actually have parent-teacher conferences coming up in 2 days, so I've been busy preparing for that.
Mm-hmm.
And, all right, so otherwise we're good?
We're good. We're back. So, yeah, so in this week's episode, we're talking about our teachers, learners.
Mm-hmm. But
go ahead.
To start off, we have a fun fact for number 10.
Okay, what's the fun fact?
And so, I don't know if you're familiar with the Rorschach test.
Rorschach.
It's created by the Swiss psychologist named Hermann Rorschach.
Is that the one where they show like ink blots type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reminds me of The Watchmen, the movie.
Okay, yeah. Or
Yeah.
the comic book, yeah.
So there are actually, he had originally was used to detect schizophrenia in patients. And then later it eventually was used as a person's interpretation of ink blots, which revealed a person's personality, characters, and emotional functioning. And there were actually 10 cards in that Rorschach test.
Interesting. There were 10 cards on that.
And I think I remember seeing that at the Phoenix Art Museum a while ago.
In Phoenix?
Yeah, I think I saw that, but it might have been
Arizona?
colored up or something, but I remember
Interesting.
very clearly. So, yep, 10 cards.
10 cards in the Rorschach test. It's also one of my favorite numbers. I was born in October, so 10 is a very popular, personal number for me. I use that in my softball days, my baseball days, and / basketball days. I always love the number 10. Right?
All right.
So that's pretty cool. All right. So this topic, are teachers learners? This is an extension of what we spoke about way back in episode 6, right? It was episode 6. Episode 6 was about burnt out on teacher burnout, and we listed, I believe we listed things that burnt out teachers, and how to overcome those, how to prevent being burnt out. You could go back and listen to that episode. It's a very popular episode that we have, which is pretty interesting. So this episode is all about going beyond that now. So teachers, are we learners, sir? Are we supposed to be learners or what?
Right. I mean, we expect our students to be learners. We teach them in their own learning styles, but looking at your own teaching profession and teaching practice, are you actually learning?
Right.
And when we mean learning are you learning to better yourself as a teacher or learning new techniques, etc.?
Right. I mean, I think one of the things that spurred us into talking about this is we saw a comic, a one-panel comic, and it was quoting, I believe, Sir Ken Robinson about teachers. Are we delivering content like a delivery truck, or are we creators and artists, like painting? Like it's contrasting with an easel and a paintbrush and showing, are we either delivery trucks or are we artists? So that was a pretty interesting comic, and I'll find that image and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yep.
So I'm going to pause right here. Okay, so we're back, and we had to pause over there because we had some outside noise. The fire department was driving by, and I hope they're doing well over there.
Why are we discussing this? I want to give you some insight.
Why are we doing this?
Right. So, we mentioned teachers are busy or become like deliverers of instruction. And, we're required to teach to the standards to prepare for our standardized testing. So we have pressure to do that. So in effect, we don't have room for creativity and going in depth in our practice.
Right, and that's I think one of the major parts of it. We are just delivering things now because we're so pressed for time. We need to cover the standards. We need to cover the tests so that our students can perform really well. And a lot of states and a lot of local school districts. They're really emphasizing that, teaching to the test and so on. That's part of the UPS truck I see. Just deliver things as efficiently as fast as possible, and not create things, because when you start creating things, you start experimenting with things. You may have to fail every so often to get better, but that takes time.
Yeah,
right?
and oftentimes I feel so torn. I want to do so much with my class. These thematic units are just big ideas that I can't get to because I do have to. I'm teaching public school. I do have to, teach to the standards.
Right.
Reasonably with new Common Core. So it's a lot, and of course we have a lot of other events going on at school, and it's not just I have a lot of other specials.
Committees, you have committees, part of committees, and extra other.
Yeah, so these are things that take up our time. Is run committees, we have extracurricular activities we have to do, a lot of paperwork, and some teachers even have to supplement their income with another job.
So yeah, that supplementing with another job, it's really, unfortunately we don't get paid as much as we need to be paid, so we need to take sometimes some of us have to take a job, an extra part-time job or full-time job even, to supplement our income, and that can hinder our growth, right? Our need to learn or want to learn more so we can perfect our craft.
Yeah. And even there's a big push for teachers to innovate using technology. And so, when you already have so much on your plate, adding one more thing is a lot of.
How is that going
people.
In your school? The trying to innovate your technology in your school or the district in general, just in general.
Yeah, it is something that's really important because I'm the tech lead in my school. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple. Each school has a tech lead that kind of brings back info to the staff about what trainings are coming, or teachers training the staff,
And that takes time. And
I have to go to meetings, and then I have to, make goals for the staff. So, I did a couple trainings on Google Classroom and
right.
GAF and all that, and I understand teachers are really busy. So I just kind of give them a little, crash course in it. And so it is hard to make sure that happens.
Right.
I can't force people, but I show them what's exciting about it, and maybe one day it'll click. But generally, it's something that they're aware of at least, and eventually it's going to have to happen.
What do you think? What do you think is the best way or a better way to get teachers in the public school district to innovate with technology? Or what would it be, a weekly thing? Would it be one shot teaching training, or what do you think would work?
Well, I think teachers need time to play with whatever tools that they're about to learn. They're learning, mm-hmm. and time to reflect about it. Support. Mm-hmm. One shot deals don't work for me. You too, I know.
Right.
It's just here you go. cram it down your throat by
Do they
support.
give you the goals of what you need to do? I know Google Classroom is one of the goals, right?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
every-
it's really up to each site to
Different
determine
sites
what
goal.
the goals are, because every site is unique.
right.
you
And this is
know.
K-12 all the
Yeah.
way there.
K-12.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's something that's started 2 years ago. So that's a big deal for a district. You know,
It's good. Yeah. And how
So
many
it's still new.
schools are in your district? In
85 plus.
85-ish.
And not every school has a tech lead, I don't think.
right.
So it was a voluntary kind of thing. So it wasn't something that was required. But I felt important, you know.
Right.
All right, so
Yeah, and yeah, that all, all those things that, from communities to standards and pressure to use technology, it can get all noisy for a teacher. It gets so much things, and it can, get the teachers too stressed out, and it gets confusing, right?
yeah, and even this year we had to learn a lot of new online management systems, from the report cards to the standardized testing. So, I mean, I'm pretty tech savvy, I feel like, but it was a lot of stuff for us to learn this year. So a lot of people are very overwhelmed from even those systems, so we want to make sure that you keep mindful, and we'll talk about them later.
Yeah, so all these things, all this clutter and all this, what's required of us, it can hinder all of our learning, right? I mean, what's that phrase? We're pulled into a million different ways, and we're only advancing a millimeter in a million different ways, and there's no real way to have a bigger impact or have bigger impact in our learning, because we're pulled so many different ways now. And what I've been reading, and I've been listening to an audiobook of The Essentialism by Greg McEwen. I mentioned this a couple episodes ago about reducing the noise and the clutter. It's also related to a book that I'm listening right now called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And he talks about the resistance. It's whatever form it is, the resistance prevents us from doing what we need to do. It's designed originally, I believe, for writers and writer's block, but a quick review scan of the reviews on Amazon, you'll see a lot of people from different industries love this book, and I picked it up. People from the industries of entrepreneurs to the medical world and other business world, they refer to this book a lot, and also the Essentialism book. And I thought it'd be cool, or try to connect this with education, because teachers are like entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, they try to solve problems. Teachers are basically the same thing. We look and we try to solve problems and help our students get better, right? So we are essentially entrepreneurs also. So we understand that, and there are a lot of different resistance or things that are resisting us from taking to the next step, taking to the next level in trying to better ourselves, right? Again, we're being pulled so many different ways. It just gets so disheartening, and we get burnt out, right?
Right, and a lot of times, it's easier to say yes to something that you're asked of to do than saying no. Like, can you help me with this, or why don't you be on this organizing committee of this event? And you want to help. Mm-hmm. We would truly, I'd want to help, but sometimes you have to just go, well, you know what? Maybe this is not the good time right now.
It's not easy. Saying no to things. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I could say yes a lot too, because I know I can do it. I know I can do a lot of these things that's set before me. But I do find myself personally, I get pulled in so many different directions, and my work gets really, the quality of it's not there for me. At least I see it sometimes. Is where I'm sure it happens to everyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
So what can we do? We talked about all these reasons why we are not learners, but let's get to it. But what things we can do to to help us. So we have 3 different action items.
Yeah, and one of the biggest action items I see, going from the books that I'm referring to, is to turning pro. That phrase, turning pro. Teachers need to turn pro, not in terms of like professions or professionals or professions, right? But more being pro, like Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. He's one of the best quarterbacks ever. He just won the Super Bowl last month or earlier this month. His skills are there. His intelligence is there in the football field, but he still has a quarterbacks coach. He still has a training coach. He still has mentors that will help him really fine-tune all of his skills. Kobe Bryant, you heard his name before. He has shooting coaches. He has basketball coaches. He has a personal trainer that helps train him in his rehab or in his exercises. So a lot of different trainers, even a lot of these so-called, or not so-called, but a lot of these professional actors or the actors, they also have their own trainers also. I guess also singers. They also
like
have
musicians.
Yeah,
They
musicians.
have voice coaches. They have
Right.
They take guitar lessons or
Like Beyonce.
You know.
I know she has a choreographer, right?
Yeah.
It's just not her kept making all these moves. She has someone guiding her on this, right? So turning pro, teachers need to find like a mentor or a colleague that can help them to go to the next level, to get better.
Yeah, I mean, think about when we were both student teaching. We had a mentor we followed up with. We could be master teacher, and we watched them and we reflected often about the practices and things like that. And now, as veteran teachers, we don't have a mentor that's with us throughout.
We don't have that support anymore. It's
Right.
disappeared a
So that's
little
really important, to have, even if they're from a different school district, might be even more helpful, or different school, to give you a perspective on what the way things run.
bit. Right.
So another thing that actually you taught me about too is, and I actually told my coworker this week, is like small wins. Everyone's getting all, oh my God, it's conference time, and
So what's a small win?
So start small. Oftentimes we think about we're going to accomplish this big feats of something as a problem.
Like I'm going to conquer the Common Core.
Yeah.
It's too big. It's impossible all like in the first year.
All right. Or I'm going to turn this kid around in like 180 degrees or
In
in
like
2 days.
in the next a few months.
So you have to kind of look for it's kind of like gems, look for the small things that like show that progress, and it adds up to be something huge.
They all add up, right? Yeah.
And give yourself credit for the little things you're doing.
Pat yourself on the back too.
Yeah.
You got to pat yourself on those little small wins. Hey, you need to go take time off. Take time off, or go for a run, or take a mini vacation during the weekend, or even have a glass of wine.
It's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for you.
And we talked about that in our Teacher Burnout one too.
Yeah.
But revising, editing yourselves. What do we do? Reflect on yourself. What do we need to do so that we can get to the heart of things? What's the most important things in life?
Yeah, revising, editing yourselves. I found that a quote somewhere. I forget who talked about it. It's probably sure one of the audiobooks I've been listening to. But editing yourselves, right? Revising your teaching philosophy, your what your goals are, recalibrating. As the year goes on, as the years goes on, we get distracted, and maybe things change, and we just need to recalibrate every so often, right? So, especially we need to get out of those little silos. Sometimes we fall into,
and then you get stuck doing the same thing, and then you just find new, fresh ideas.
Yeah. So keep learning. Right, that definitely is the one of the best ways to get out of those stuck times.
Right. All right. So another way you can scope out other teaching styles. We think of, let's go watch other teachers, but you should go out into the community, go into the world and observe entrepreneurs, medical field professionals, social workers, law enforcers, first responders, etc., and look at how they teach. Because even though they're not teaching kids like you are, they still have that teaching.
They're teaching something.
So
I like to think about is cooking class. I want to teach. I want to learn a cooking class. You observe the teacher, the chef, or whoever's teaching the cooking class, and they may have a pretty cool, interesting style of teaching, a different perspective, and I might take that from them and use it in my teaching itself.
Right.
So something like that. Looking for different friends and family, connect with different people in the community. A yoga teacher may help. Or if you want to take mountain biking, check that out. There are teachers there. They can teach you, show the ropes. A survival class I took last summer, and I learned a lot how they taught me and my brother and my sister. We went to a survival class and how to really incorporate the whole environment. Really think out of this box. Outside of the square box, and really think outside and use everything. Nothing. Don't leave. The things out there that you can use differently.
So did that experience help you with your teaching?
Yeah, because it really helped me slow down a bit and made me observe. You hear the sounds. They made us do things sit there in silence in the forest, and you hear things, and we don't get that too much at all. And we live in the city, and there's always some kind of noise, ambient noise, and it was nice sitting in the forest and hearing the natural sounds from animals, the stream, the trees, the wind. You don't really hear that. We're not aware of that anymore sometimes, and it's not. It's good to reconnect with the simple sounds, right?
Right.
Right. So again, it's not easy. What we're sharing with you. But look. You got to really look inwards, recognize that. The small things that can prevent you from learning more, and turn pro. Go over that. Find mentors. Go outside, and that's how a pro does. They play, when they're hurt, or they keep going. Amateurs usually just give up. That separates the pro and the amateurs. Teachers, we just need to go push through, keep going, even through all the adversity. And just do it.
And then really focus on small wins, because they add up. And like we said, it will really be encouraging for you.
Give yourself props.
And I need to do that myself too.
Especially at this time, it's crazy right now. They'll report cards, and we all get burnt out. And, this is the crazy time. Right, it's going to ramp up. A lot of people think, "Oh, Fred, it's almost June. It's going to you guys will be happy." And you guys are finishing up, right, in the next couple of months. No, we're actually winding up. We're not winding down. We all wind up,
right,
to finish through the finish line. And think about this as a small. It's a marathon. We're not sprinting. It's a marathon. Like the marathon runners, they just run through, and there's like juices or water being handed out to the runners. Yeah. So just like that, think about that. Somebody's handing you water, take it, or those oranges or whatever. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. So,
right. All right, and your favorite?
One of the quotes. When I think about these small wins and all this about losing, or about things that get to you, taking things too personally that prevent you from learning. One of my favorite groups, Public Enemy, back in the 80s and 90s, they had this wonderful quote that I take heart. It's don't let a win get to your head or a loss to your heart. I think that sums it up. It's beautifully said. Don't let these wins, even though they're small wins, don't let it go to your head, or the danger, I think, is the big wins, right? You think you won the whole thing, you may get complacent. Don't let that get to your head.
Right.
Don't let it get to your head, and any loss, don't take it too personally. Just keep going.
Because then you give up. So just keep that in mind.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've been talking a lot about tips to help you with burnout and things like that. But we kind of want to take a new direction next couple episodes. We talked about today how we want to share with you the tools and the products we use in our classrooms.
That's for next week.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have so many. So from the chairs I got for Donors Choose to
my standing up
desk to
love it.
My iPad stand or the book boxes I use.
We have a lot of tools and a lot of furniture and a lot of the coolest things that we think that works for us really well. It may work for you, and we'll talk about that next episode.
All right. So Thank you for joining us, everyone. Please subscribe to our show and leave an honest rating and comment for feedback. It'll help us make our show better and allows for our show to be discovered by other educators like you as well.
It does. The reviews stay there on iTunes, and that's how they get, we rank in iTunes. And we've been on iTunes new and noteworthy for the past 7-8 weeks now. We're enjoying it. We're very blessed, and we thank you, the listener, for joining us. And we have a lot to share with you in the future. But having said that, let us know what you guys think. Comments, some suggestions. Please email us on teachingbytes.com. Go to the site there. You could contact me directly at fred@teachingbytes.com.
And me at Sharon@teachingbytes.com. And you can also look on our Facebook page.
Right, we're on Facebook. All right, Teaching Bytes, search for that. All right. That's good. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. We're like vertebrae.
Yep.
And again.
Right. Not vertebrates.
Not vertebrates.
No, we're not.
I had to be schooled on that channel to define vertebrates.
You were looking it up. I was just telling you, no, that's not right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Teaching Bytes podcast at www.teachingbytes.com.